Hello, welcome to adv.photos. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos for various different reasons. I've actually been a bit busy, so I haven't been able to make them. Also, I've been swapping over my kit again, which I'll get into in a little while. First of all, last week I went for an interview for my master's degree at Brighton University, and I got in. So from the end of September this year, I'll be a full-time student once more, studying for a master's degree. It's only a year, but I'm hoping to do possibly a PhD afterwards as well, alongside obviously the stuff I already do at the moment, so fingers crossed. It's great news. I found out less than 24 hours after the interview. I wasn't sure if I'd done enough or not, to be quite honest. Strange, because normally I can tell, and this time I just couldn't tell at all. But I was so pleased. I mean, they've got such awesome facilities in Brighton. They have at least 3 studios. This is in the one building, 3 studios, all sorts of kit, awesome kit, dedicated computers for photo and video editing, which we didn't have where I was before in Norfolk College. Unfortunately, the only machines we could really use were the machines in the library, and they weren't particularly fast. So anyway, yes, gone on to my master's degree, and part of that I'll be recording weekly sort of update vlogs of my progress on the master's degree, what I'm doing, what my thoughts are, what my thought process is, and any work I've done. And that's going to be for the whole time I'm doing it. So even outside sort of like term time, I'm still going to be doing work on it, because it's full-time dedication. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I still can't believe I've gone on. There's only 10 places on offer per year on the master's degree. 10. Just imagine how many people have applied for it, and I got in less than 24 hours. I still don't know how. I really don't know how. Maybe my portfolio was very good. That's the thing, I didn't really get any feedback. Maybe that's something I should do. Maybe I should write to the man that interviewed me and ask him to give me some feedback on my interview. So I'd like to know why he offered me a place. What pushed me over the line. So yes, there's that, and I'll be trying to keep my blog going on my website as well. I'm going to start pushing that now more this year on the build up, along with my YouTube channel, which this is on. Oh, sorry, you might have just seen I've got another list of stuff to talk about, because it's been a little while. So yeah, that's my big news, that I've finally got myself going again. Yeah, fingers crossed. Now, my other main bit of news, you're probably all going to groan, for any of you that have watched this before. You may have known I last year changed from my Fujifilm X-T3 to Canon's EOS R. Now, the reason I changed was the pardon me, was the limitations of the lenses that were available for Fujifilm cameras. A problem you don't have with Canon cameras, because all the Canon EF glass with the adapter will just work, no problem. And that's what I did. I switched over to the EOS R, and I bought myself 2 EF lenses with the mount adapters slammed onto them, a 16-35 f4 IS and the 70-200 f4 IS. I believe they were the first or second versions of each one, so not the most up-to-date ones, and not the 2.8s, because they're ridiculously heavy. And of course I've got the 24-105 RF f4 kit lens, so all stabilised, right. And it was a little walk in the countryside and over the hills to Sisbury Ring last month, that I realised that even with the switch, kit was still too heavy. I have back problems, so I have to be careful with my back because of a history of it since I was about 10 years old. And I just found I had backache all the next day, and all I had on me was my camera with the 24-105 on it across me on the old yeah, and the 70-200 f4 in the bag. That's all I had on me, the spare battery, nothing else. But it was still too heavy, and ridiculously heavy. And the bag, which is underneath, what's behind me there, with it all in, it was heavy to lift up, heavy to move around. So, having done my research and having used Panasonic Lumix cameras before, like this one, that's the other thing, I decided to switch to Micro Four Thirds. Now you might be saying, "Oh, Micro Four Thirds is tiny sensor, and you're not going to get, great photos out of it, or you're not going to get so much great photos out of it." Well, I disagree, because up until now, I had, along with that EOS R, before I had the EOS R, I had the XT3, like I said. I also had the Panasonic Lumix FZ2000, which is a 1-inch sensor, which is even smaller than a Micro Four Thirds sensor. Right, that's smaller, 20 megapixel sensor, and some of my photos that I took with that, because I did go out and take some photos with it, are some of the most popular photos I've put up on my 500 pics in the last year. For example, because it has a macro mode, you can get right in close and take some really close-up shots. But also, you can zoom in and out quite easily, and it wasn't a particularly heavy camera, even with that big chunk of glass on the front, which was a Leica lens. But the one big limitation with that camera is it's not weather sealed, and I want to take video of myself talking to camera outside, and the threat of rain in this country especially where I'm going to be going this year, because I'm going to be going to Snowdon. I'm going to actually be going up on the mountain itself, where the weather can change quite quickly from nice and sunny to suddenly cloudy to suddenly wet and then bright and sunny again, and it's cold as well. Even at the end of May, it's still going to get cold up there, even on a bright sunny day, and I just don't want to take a camera up there that's going to fail. So I switched first my vlogging camera from the FZ2000 to the Panasonic Lumix G80, which is what I'm filming on now, and it's tiny and it's so light, and it is weather sealed. Not as weather sealed as the two cameras that go up from it, but it's good enough. I've watched quite a few videos of certain people that use these cameras on YouTube, and they're very good, and I have no problems with them. So when I decided to go to Micro Four Thirds completely, I decided to go for the Lumix G9, which is quite a very rugged camera. It'll work below freezing. Also bought 3 lenses to go with it, all weather sealed, all dust resistant and all that sort of stuff, so it's not going to be a problem if it starts to rain. 2 of them are of course have stabilization, but here's the thing: both cameras, the G80 and the G9, have image stabilization built in, IBIS, and that's 5 axis. Now, what that means is I don't necessarily have to take a tripod with me up a mountain to take shots. I can just take, as you've seen before, my monopod, which is not particularly heavy. It's quite light, even with that head on the top, which does add a bit of weight. I could take that off and not bother. It would only mean I could shoot landscape with it, which would be a little bit of a drawback, but to be quite honest, the image stabilization on the G9 is quite good. Now I haven't taken it out yet. I'm hoping to do that this weekend because it only just arrived on Saturday, and I had to do charge it up and check all the lenses were fine, and that's the main thing. They're tiny, the lenses are quite small. So for example, I'm shooting on a 12 to 60 lens, and that full frame equivalent is 24 to 120. Yeah, so it's got some reach. So the lenses I bought, the 8 to 16, or is it 8 to 18? You know what, I've got it on a piece of paper somewhere, and it's underneath all that lot. Anyway, so I got myself the wide angle equivalent of a 16 to 35, basically. 14 to 140, that is image stabilized. 28 to 280, and a 100 to 300, which is 200 to 600. So I've got the super zoom as well. So I've got all my focal lengths covered. They're all image stabilized, apart from the 8 to 18 or 16. I think it's 18. Oh, whichever. That one isn't stabilized, but it benefits from the 5-axis stabilization in the camera itself, which the EOS R and the X-T3 don't have. Now I am aware that Fuji are probably bringing out an X-T4 in the next few months. Now if that is the case, what I will probably do is wait until September when I start my degree, my master's degree, and I might purchase one purely for the more professional type shots that I'm going to use for that. So that would be my pro camera, but it wouldn't be the one I would take, like I said, up a mountain. That I would take for the majority of my work. The majority of my work is still going to be done with the G9. It's a great camera. I know it's a few years old now, but the technology in it is still good, and with any luck, there's talk of a G6H or GH6, whichever way around it is, coming out to replace the GH5, which hopefully means there'll be an update to the G9 later on in the year. Probably not until the second half of the year, especially as they just updated the firmware in a whole bunch of their cameras, but you never know, they might bring it out beforehand. So yes, I'll keep an eye on that, because if they can fit 20 megapixels on a Micro Four Thirds sensor and one on a 1-inch sensor, which is smaller, then they should be able to fit a couple more on the next generation of Micro Four Thirds. And with any luck, you might get an extra couple of megapixels. You may think that's not much, but who knows? Who knows? So yeah, that's the other part of my news. I've finally settled on a bit of equipment that I think is going to be for me. Now that's the thing, you need the tool for the job, not as a lot of these YouTube channels go on and on and on about you must have this camera because it's the best camera, it does this, it does that, it's got 60 megapixels, 50 megapixels, 40 megapixels. That's irrelevant. It's what are you going to use it for? And for me, my work is going to be seen on a screen. It could be a computer screen, or it could be a phone. Now, majority of people don't have a 4K computer screen, so they're going to be looking at it in HD. 20 megapixels is more than enough for that. And if you're not looking at it on a computer screen, you're looking at it on a phone, you could get away with 8 probably megapixels, to be quite honest. Who pixel peeps? Who really pixel peeps when they're viewing something that somebody else has posted? No one. Well, no one normal anyway. So yes, that's the end of that. So there we go. Now hopefully I'll have some in the field footage next week. That's the other thing. I'm going to try and keep this going once a week. Like I said, I haven't done anything for a little while, mainly because I've been changing over my equipment and it's taken a little while. And of course the weather's been quite shocking, unfortunately. So, ta-ta for now, but I'll see you soon.